Hello everyone, welcome to this week's weekly market review for Monday the 1st of May to Friday the 5th of May 2023. My name is Vishal. Let's get started.
Let's start with the Nifty analysis now. Let's start with the monthly chart. And the monthly chart is still holding on to this level of demand. Candle is creating that bullish pattern. And as I said, that a close of the candle would be very, very crucial. And in the month of April, we have been able to achieve that. Now, what does this overall signify? That we have a close above the indecision candle, which means that this trend to the upside is more or less likely to continue. At least that is what the monthly chart is telling us. Okay, let's now move on to the weekly chart. Let's try to see what's happening on the weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, we have entered deep inside this tested weekly supply zone. What is more interesting to actually note also is that we are in the process of creating a level of demand. So if you see this rally-based rally, so I'm just going to mark this level as a level of demand right now, but this level of demand will still not be a level of demand till and until we break this level of supply. So 18,277, a break above that, and preferably a close above that would possibly indicate that there are more buyers that are governing this market. And if the candle does close in a positive way, just above this, then a pullback into this will more or less take the markets to all-time highs. So slightly a little bit of a different view this week because of whatever has happened. And markets have been pretty strong. So we just follow what the markets do. Let's look at the daily chart right now. This is the daily demand zone, 17,427 to 17,313. Volatility is pretty much deflated right now on the options premiums. We are a little bit more into the momentum mode. So any kind of directional debit strategies can be tried in this, this low volatility zone here. And we have a supply zone from 18,264.75 to 18,491. Keep in mind that this is already tested once. There could be a reasonable attempt for the market to move towards this area. At the moment, SGX Nifty is trading at 18,265. But I'm sure that tomorrow when the market opens, these numbers will more or less get adjusted. But it's very likely that tomorrow we are going to have a pretty big gap up opening. And maybe sooner or later, we'll be testing these or this daily supply zone. If you go on to the smaller time frame now, let's move on to the 30-minute chart. So before I take you to the levels that I have plotted, we had this level plotted last week, right? And this was the pro gap. And we saw that once the markets came into this level, the markets did pause a little bit, but then eventually went on and broke this level. So now what is more significant here is that because this pro gap was taken out, any level of demand that is created over here is going to be a very, very significant amount of demand. So in case now the prices are in this 30-minute supply zone, and for some reason or the other, if something overnight happens, obviously if the market gaps up, then this supply zone will also be taken off. But in case if there is something overnight that happens on the SGX Nifty, then this demand zone will be a level of demand to watch out for. In case if price pulls back here, then we might expect to see the markets again moving to the upside. Okay, so any push to the downside here will again probably take the markets up. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on to the 30-minute chart now. And on the 30-minute chart, we can see that this is your level of demand. There are actually multiple levels of demand. I'm just going with the ones that are closer to the current market price. On the 30-minute chart, this is your level of supply. And then we also have possibly one more level of supply. So just let me load the local data here just to show you. And probably that supply zone is a little bit coinciding with the weekly supply zone. So maybe that could be a high probability potential market turning point. but we'll have to just wait and watch to see what happens. So if I just go over here, and this is where we currently are. Just keep on moving to the left. Yeah. So this is that that high probability supply zone, but it's very, very far away from the current market price. And of course, if there is this break of the weekly supply zone, then markets might tend to become even more bullish, and they will not have any kind of issues in moving to the upside. There could be a few barriers over here, so I'll just mark this level here also. So this is that level to watch out for, 18,500 to 18,576. But it looks like markets are not in the mode of giving any kind of correction, and they are more in the impulse mode. Now we are coming into a very, very significant technical zone here, which is your resistance at 18,200. So any close above the 18,200 will indicate more bullishness, because this is more or less that technical level where prices have taken a stiff resistance and fallen a couple of times. So just keep a close watch on this area. This is that supply zone within that 18,200 area. So this is an area to watch out for on the Nifty in case if the market gaps up. In case if the market gaps up above 18,200, then it's more likely that we are going to move towards the closer to the all-time high. All right, let's move on to the Bank Nifty now. And let us see what do we see on Bank Nifty. Okay. So the Bank Nifty charts have now loaded, and let's quickly just go through some of the key levels on the Bank Nifty chart. I've already marked some of the key levels, but let's start with the monthly chart first. So if you look at the monthly chart, this is your monthly chart, given a very, very strong bounce out of this monthly level of demand. Similarly, that is what the Nifty is doing. It is also closed above this candle. Now we are in an area of a little bit of a resistance over here. Let's see by going to the weekly chart if we are able to spot anything. So on the weekly chart, we are gone deep inside this weekly supply zone, which I've been mentioning. And now, just like how the Nifty is creating a demand zone within this supply zone, there is also a weekly demand zone being potentially created within this weekly supply zone. So what is interesting is going to be is that if the markets start moving up, and let's say they create a green candle or a positive candle and close above this supply zone, then what this will also indicate is that your demand zone over here is going to get activated, right? So there are going to be less chances of now the market to actually correct, and markets might continue and move towards the upside. Okay, so that is what is expected, but let's see whether that happens. But of course, this pullback is only going to be valid once the market closes above this weekly supply zone. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the nothing on the daily. Let me see if there's anything on the 75 minutes. Yes, so on the 75 minutes, we have some key levels of demand here, 42,442. This is your level of demand, tested once already, but I do see that probably there's a possibility of, let me just remove all these lines here. There's one more possibility that markets might give a correction, and then we might again move to the upside. In case if the this level fails to hold, then definitely we have this gap level over here. So this is the level to watch out for on the Bank Nifty. And on the supply zone front, we have this supply zone right at 43,940 odd levels, right? So this is again going to be coinciding very, very close to that Nifty level, right? So pretty far away right now, but more likely that markets might do something like, give a little bit of a deeper correction, probably try and scare everybody, again, and then probably give a bounce and then start moving towards the all-time highs. All right, let's now move on to the USDINR. Let's reduce the time frame here. And let's look at what the USDINR is doing. Let's wait till the charts load. So I'm going to remove all the tools here, and well, actually I don't need to, but let's quickly have a look here. So this is your monthly chart. Prices are just consolidating here, doing nothing much, possibly pushing a little bit to the downside. Now we do have a demand zone here, and there is a possibility if this demand zone on the daily breaks to the downside, then more likely this 80 handle is going to be tested on the USDINR. Now, how does that convert into correlating that with the Nifty? So the USDINR and the Nifty are inversely correlated, right? So ideally, when the USDINR goes down, Nifty is supposed to move up, and vice versa. Always, no correlation is 100%. So that's something that you need to just keep in mind. But what we are seeing right now is also that there is this demand level on the USDINR from where the prices are bouncing, right? So we are in a daily level of demand, although tested, but we are seeing a little bit of a pause coming in. Now, in case if the USDINR for some reason starts to move up and let's say move towards this area or maybe even this gap area over here, then there is a possibility of Nifty going to the downside. So you just got to be a little careful here, because the sign that we are getting here is that the USDINR has hit a crucial level of demand and it's turning to the upside. So maybe it's good to maintain a stance of not being extremely bullish on the indices. You could maintain a little bit of a bullish stance, but try to avoid an extremely bullish stance on the indices. So you just need to be careful here, because the USDINR is in a demand zone. All right, let's check the Fin Nifty. Just want to load the Fin Nifty. Just contract here. All right. Now the Fin Nifty is more or less a mix of the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. So more or less it's likely to move in a very, very similar fashion. As you can see, bouncing out of this monthly level of demand, closing above this indecision candle here. And more or less the monthly chart just shows that the Fin Nifty just doesn't want to stop, right? If you go into the weekly chart, we are coming into an area of resistance here. So this is your area of resistance. This is not a supply zone, but this is an area where the prices have faced a little bit of a tough time in moving to the upside. So there could be one more attempt. What is going to be very, very key again on the Fin Nifty is that all the indices on the weekly chart have formed or potentially creating new levels of demand. So what is going to be very, very keen for you to see is, if you do consider this as your tested weekly supply zone, then just like how you are expecting the indices to move to the upside, you're going to be expecting Fin Nifty also to move and create a kind of a bullish closing above this weekly zone. And if it is possible that if that happens, then more or less this demand zone will be in play. Okay, so you just got to keep a close watch on this rally-based rally area. But this rally-based rally area will only get triggered once the prices breach this supply zone, which is 19,607, which is more or less very, very close to coming to all-time highs. All right. This demand zone held pretty well, and prices did hold on to this area and have given a bounce. So now just be aware of this level, but this level is only going to be triggered once the prices break this level of supply. All right. Let's look at some stocks now, and let's look at Tata Motors. Get rid of all the tools here. Let's try to analyze Tata Motors with a slightly bigger picture. So if you look at the monthly chart of Tata Motors, Tata Motors is just more or less in a consolidation, and one can assume that probably this move has come after a lot of consolidation of this area over here. Right now, markets have started to move up on Tata Motors on the monthly chart. Let's go on to the weekly chart to see what's happening here. On the weekly chart, we are coming into an area again of a resistance point. So again, longs need to be a little careful here. But again, just like the indices, we are creating new levels of demand on the weekly chart. So any close above all this congestion area, this is that that resistance or that tested supply zone. Just got to be a little careful, because again, we are still far away from the all-time highs, and market, once it comes into this area, can again start to consolidate. If we go on to the slightly smaller time frame chart, let's see if there's anything over here. A 30-minute chart. In fact, on the 30-minute chart, there is no clear demand area, right? But however, what is going to be interesting to know is we are coming closer to this resistance point, which means that in case if there is some kind of a selling pressure coming into this area and Nifty also begins to turn down, then we might see Tata Motors also turning down from here, right? So in case once it rotates from here and then it starts moving down, there could be some new supply zones in the making where you can catch the move to the downside. And then you also have this this important gap level of demand over here. So again, just be a little careful on Tata Motors. In fact, on the long side, although the charts are showing a lot of bullishness, we are coming into this resistance area. So this is something that you need to watch out for. All right, let's look at the next stock. The next stock is going to be here. Yeah, let's discuss Hindustan Unilever. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Hindustan Unilever. Let's remove all this. So let's start with the monthly chart of Hindustan Unilever. Prices came into this area. This is your monthly supply. More or less, generally, when a higher time frame supply zone is hit, then we need to start being a little bit careful on longs. And this supply zone was more or less hit in somewhere around 30th August 2022. Since then, Hindustan Unilever kept on, going up, going down, consolidating. But now it's probably showing a little bit of bearishness. Okay? And there is this weekly demand here, which is, I'm sorry, this is the monthly demand here, but that monthly demand is a little far away. Now, can we see the stock breaking a little bit down to the lower side? There is a possibility. But if the price has to break down, as you can see over here, price is forming lower highs, right? And it is reacting to that monthly supply zone. We also need to be a little careful about this level here. So in case if the price breaks this area, then maybe on the smaller time frame charts, there can be some pullbacks where price can be ridden all the way down to 2314 odd levels. On the 30-minute chart, let's see if there are some areas of supply. Yeah, so you just got to be a little careful here. But what I would do is I would just try and keep an alert below this low. And let's say if this alert gets violated, then any pullback into the areas of supply, let's say for example, this area would be something to watch out for, right? But now the price is already touching this supply zone. What I would prefer in this situation is wait for the price to probably break the low. Maybe it could create a new supply zone somewhere over here, and then possibly I would take the entry towards that monthly level. But if I come closer to that monthly level of demand, then possibly I would just stop shorting over here. Okay, so this is that area to watch out for on Hindustan Unilever in case if we get a break to the downside and price gives a retracement to the upside. Okay, so this was it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. I tried to keep the levels short and simple. Yes, the last week has been a little bit challenging because the supply zones have got violated. But that just creates more and new opportunities in the market, and this just tells you that market is always supreme, and we are just participants in the market. So good luck with this week, and if you do like our analysis, do please subscribe to our Sher Khan Education channel, and do give your valuable comments in the comment box for any feedback or any kind of improvements or any kind of instruments that you want to be you want me to discuss in the next session. Have a lovely week, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
This should not be treated as a recommendation. Please conduct your own analysis or consult a financial advisor before investing.